In today's video, I wanted to share how I got exposed to a different type of energy. My first exposure into energy medicine. So typically when we think about the word energy and we think about our bodies, it's energy to do things, right? So it would be the energy you need to go for a run, or do you have energy throughout the day? Those types of questions or thoughts. And when we look down into ourselves at what leads to, us having the energy to do the things we want to do, historically that has been inside of our mitochondria, which we were taught in medical school is the powerhouse of the cell. So the mitochondria takes oxygen from the air we breathe. It takes electrons from the food we eat or from the ground and the earth. It goes through a complex set of steps and it spits out the energy molecule ATP. And if you've got tons of ATP, you should feel really good. That's the idea. Turns out that the ability to produce ATP, the number of our mitochondria can decline with age, but also with extreme stress, because we all know, I'm seeing people younger and younger, like teenagers coming in my office with lots of symptoms, or acute stressors or chronic exposures, just the food we're eating, all of these things leading to a decreased energy level. But it turns out that energy really is a way that we've got a charge. It's a positive potential to do something, and there are other things that carry energy, and that's what's getting all of the attention, and we're really fascinated with in today's day and age. So what happened to me to get me really excited about this was about close to 15 years ago. There was somebody who is a chemical engineer, and he was working with a practitioner, and he got this idea to build a bed that had color and music and low-level vibration. And those are all different types of energetic frequencies. So they are things that can have capacity to lead to change. And the bed, when it was put together, was being utilized for healing. And what they found was one of the main interests that the people who built the machine and the investor had was in type 1 diabetes. So they were finding in type 1 diabetes and other autoimmune diseases that when patients got in this bed and got this treatment for an hour, that they would come out and they would feel different. And they were even able to measure parameters where they were measuring the parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system. They were seeing improvement and balance, and things were neutralizing. But over time, with utilizing this bed and this therapy, people were healing. So they wanted to have evidence-based proof about this. They went to the university, which was a great idea, to say, hey, we are having massive success with this treatment protocol. We would like you to study it for us. And the university, which was the University of South Florida here in Tampa, said, you know what, that sounds fascinating. We're really excited that you're having incredible results, but it's still a little bit too out there for us. So here's the phone number of somebody who's open to weird stuff. And that was my phone number. So they called me. I said, I'm open, because I have always been open. And if you know my story, I had childhood leukemia at 15 and heart failure by 20. So I've had to kind of pave my own path to healing. And so I went and checked out this device. And what was really interesting is after I was in it, and at that point, I had not had chemotherapy or any treatment for any type of problem for well over 20 years. And I got in this bed for an hour, and the doors were closed, and I basically was in between asleep and awake. It's very relaxing. And when they opened the door, the practitioner, or the man who had built the machine, started coughing. And he was like, oh my God, do you smell that? And I couldn't really smell much, but he said, wow, it smells like almost like a toxic waste dump. Okay, so there I was feeling really good, smelling something a little bit weird, and then him telling me this crazy story. So I started wondering and thinking, and it turns out that, we have a physical vessel that we're all very familiar with, our bodies, but we have an energy field, and ancient cultures have understood this. We have chi and chakras and meridians and energy flows. And these energy systems and our own energy field, meaning particles that give off frequency, goes out for feet around of our body. If we are treating our cells and we're detoxing our bodies, but we're not detoxing the energy field, could it be possible that things like chemotherapy and other toxins are stuck there? And that's what I believe this practitioner was smelling after my hour-long therapy. Of course, since then, I have done lots of different treatments for my energy field, and I watched as my own body started getting better and better and better. So that was my personal first exposure to the idea that there is much more to energy, but also much more to healing the body than the traditional path and the organ type system that we're taught in medical school. So when you look at what happens at an energetic level, a lot of it is still being defined. So science is still going deep into figuring this out, to the level that we're even questioning the very physics that we've been taught. So the Newtonian physics, where everything has sort of an equal and opposite reaction, we're now understanding that the very small particles at a quantum level are acting differently. So again, is it possible that the energy field is holding on to toxins that we didn't know was going to happen? And fast forward, I got that bed in my office. I started treating patients, and I had a couple of really cool similar experiences with patients that had been alcoholics. And these were people who were long time sober, 10 years or 15 years sober. Getting in there, they had almost like a DTs, which is a withdrawal from alcohol that they hadn't seen. They hadn't touched alcohol in such a long time, but it was, again, the frequency was stuck in their energy field. So as we bridge this gap, this is something I'm very excited about for the next 10 or 15 years as the science keeps coming out at the quantum level as to what's happening and what's happening in these frequencies, in the waves or in the particles that are, whether they're photons, which are wavelengths of light, or they're sound waves or wavelengths that we haven't even discovered yet, how those are having an impact on our physical body, how they're influencing our neurotransmitters or our hormones or the way that we process information, for example. I think that is going to be really eye-opening and continue to absolutely change the course of medicine and the course of how we heal. So my advice to you would be, if you are somebody who's done a lot of work on your physical body, which many of you and many of the people that follow me have, if you've done that, where you've really, let's say, detoxified, healed your gut, taken hormones, balanced your thyroid and your adrenals, maybe you've worked on chronic infections and parasites and chronic viruses, that's all amazing. But there is, I promise you this, an entirely additional part to your body that's going to need the same, if not even more attention, which is the energetic piece. So we're learning about how our mitochondria give off an energy field, how our DNA is encased in energy, how things are spinning in different ways, especially even our heart. We thought it was beating a certain way, but it looks like instead it's sort of spinning on an axis, creating an energy vortex that we don't fully understand. So be open to that. Know that the physical work is incredibly important, but that this energy work, whether it is something you try with light therapy or color therapy or binaural beats or sound therapy, those are ways to get your body exposed, or something as simple as getting in the earth, one of my favorite ways to play with energy, which is just syncing your body with the frequencies being emitted from the planet. You will find that your healing journey not only gets easier, But I believe as we embrace this ancient knowledge, because we knew a lot about this in the past, if we embrace that again and we let go of so much of the programming that's in our heads and so much of the mechanistic sort of Newtonian physics, and we go into this new world, that we have gifts and we have longevity and healing powers that we have yet to uncover. So this is an exciting time to be alive. It's an exciting time to be in medicine. Make sure that you are trying some of these modalities. Please share with me what has worked for you, and I will see you guys in the next video.